What's up YouTube? Today I thought I'd do a video on the Chiappa M1-9. It is modeled after the M1 carbine chambered in 9mm. So this is just a blowback action 9mm. It's a very simple firearm.
Now this firearm does have some compatible parts like the stock. It looks like the original trigger pack would even fit in. I've not tested this, but I've always had it in the back of my mind.
So there are things about this firearm that I do not like. For example, the bayonet lug on the front and the barrel band are both made out of plastic. Same thing goes for the trigger guard. I am not a big fan of replacing metal with plastic, especially when you're trying to replicate something like an M1 carbine. So the charging handle on this firearm looks obtrusive. It's just big and obnoxious. I really do not like that on this firearm. They took a M1 carbine and stuck a clunky looking charging handle on it. I really do not like this. They could have made something subtle or something that looks more like the original. All right.
We're live. There we go.
All right. Really quick, what did you think of the gun?
Oh, it's pretty sweet. I love how it shoots 9mm. So then that way you can take it to a range and it's, I don't know, affordable universal ammo. Yeah, just to kind of, I wasn't watching close enough. It kind of grazed my fingers up here, but no big deal.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way too.
And with 9mm, not a ton of recoil, but it was pretty consistent. Like I saw the group that you got out of it. I can't tell what my group is. We've kind of destroyed that target.
Yeah.
But it's nice. I like it. It's fun.
So when most people talk down about this firearm, it's always with the reliability. It seems to have the same jam every single time. It's not a hard jam to get rid of, but it is kind of consistent. Every 2 or 3 magazines, you're going to get it. I've tried to shoot more rounds to see if it was just a break-in issue, but it just consistently continues to do this. And I've tried different kind of magazines, but it seems like that's just the jam it's going to have. Also, when I put in 20-round magazines, they seem to want to pop out of the firearm. This mag release doesn't seem to completely engage into the higher capacity magazines. If you hold it from this side, the magazine will not come out. It's got one of the worst triggers I've ever felt. It's just a clunky, long trigger. And when we went out to 100 yards with this firearm trying to see what the accuracy was, you could really tell that it was bad. And I was amazed we got the grouping we did. At 20 yards, this firearm is pretty accurate, but at 100, it hits a man-sized target, which for a $500 rifle that shoots a 9mm, that's not bad. But I think if you improve the trigger, maybe it would be a little bit more accurate. Another thing with accuracy, while we're talking about it, the rear sight likes to pop out. And there's a screw on the back of the receiver right here that when it starts coming loose, you start losing accuracy. So I have to tighten that down every so often. So since we've been talking so negative about it, I do like some things about it. I really like that it takes Beretta mags. I have a Beretta M9, and so I have mags for this thing all over the place. Like I said though, the higher capacity mags like to pop out. So I do have to either hold it by this little piece on the other side, either hold it right here so it doesn't come out, or I just use the 10 rounders, and I tend to just use the 10 rounders. I really like that it's 9mm. I can go take this and shoot for cheap and have fun with it. So it's light, it's comfortable. I really like the sights. I really like that they used actual wood, not synthetic. When they were cheaping out and putting plastic on it, it was one of my worries that there would be, you know, synthetic wood on it. But no, this is actual wood.
But I will say the stock scratches really easily.
Like I said, I really don't like this charging handle. It's big, obtrusive. It's massive. It looks horrible on the gun. I think if you would just reduce the size of it or redesign it so that it just comes to the side, it would be a better looking firearm. So this top piece was really loose when I first got it, so I put this band and pulled it back and tightened it down. So now it's secure and it doesn't wiggle, but as you shoot it, it seems to pop back to this point. Just a little bit, just enough that this will wiggle. It won't come off completely because of that spring that's holding it in place right there. Disassemble this firearm, you gotta take a screw out of this little band here, take that off, and you can take this top piece off, take the magazine release out, pull this piece out, and then the stock will come off the frame. There you go, it's apart. So I've seen a lot of videos of people talking down about this firearm, and I can see their point. It isn't the most reliable firearm. It does have a terrible trigger, and the rear sight likes to move around a little bit. But it depends on what you want it for. If this was your option for a home defense weapon, I would tell you to consider something else. But if you're wanting something to go out to the range and practice and shoot with, this is not a bad option. If you're having a hard time finding 22s, 9mm seem to be everywhere, and it's pretty much the cheapest thing on the market besides 22s. You can take this thing out, you go plink with it, and you get better at dealing with jams. And for me, if I was a kid wanting to shoot a gun, it would be cool to shoot something bigger than a 22, but not knock me around like their 30 cal. It would be a fun gun for that. And if you can hit stuff with this, with how bad the trigger is, you can hit it with anything. And so there are positives to this thing. It's light, it's pretty accurate. I like the sights on it other than it moves around. The trigger sucks, I know. And you know, it's a lot of fun. So if you'd like to see my first impressions when I first got the gun, check in the description, there's gonna be a link to it, but pretty much I'm summing up everything I said about it. It's a fun gun, and I think that people have been way too hard on it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me down below what you'd like to see in future videos.